And we are now live.
Good evening. It is 6:30 Monday, May 9th, and this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kearney Planning and Zoning Commission. If everyone would please stand and recite the pledge with me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
David, have you had the opportunity to call the roll?
Yes, everyone is here except for Paula Noble and, well, Doyle Riley, technically, but he's on leave until October.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda then is the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of the minutes from the April 11th meeting. Do we have any commission discussion?
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Next item is new business. The first one is the Platte Clay Electric minor site plan for a changeable copy monument sign. David, do you have a staff report for us?
Yes, and I'll put a little graphic of the sign on the screen. Dave Christensen with Platte Clay Electric is here today. They propose to reface their existing monument sign at the southeast corner of 92 and Platte Clay Way. Replace that with a lighted sign. I don't think the sign is lighted now. I think it's just a blank. Maybe the lettering is.
The lettering is lighted.
Okay. They'll replace it with a little different background, a little wider, so it's a little brighter. And then the the right half of that will be a changeable copy sign. We always bring the electronic changeable copy signs to Planning and Zoning Commission for approval. The sign won't get larger. It's the same size. They're just adding a changeable copy element to that. It's good for them really because every year, at least once per year, they always have the annual meeting and they come in and get a temporary sign permit for the portable sign. This will allow them to post the notice without having to do a temporary sign every year. So it'll be real handy for them. They did provide a letter that they'll comply with our ordinance about
Changeable copy.
the changeable copy being still static images that don't change more or quicker than 2-second intervals. Staff recommends approval with a couple of conditions that they get a sign permit before installation, and then the note about the 2-second intervals and the static imagery that we received.
Okay. Do you have any commission discussion? Any questions for? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Platte Clay Electric sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming in this evening. The next item on the agenda is the Kearney Parks and Rec site plan for the pickleball court expansion. David, you have a report for us?
Yes, and I'd like to switch to the site plan on that one too, if I can get to maybe the right page that I'm looking for. North is to the right, so you have to orient yourself. I can turn that around a little bit if you'd like, but I'll just leave the sheet the way it is. Eric Marshall and Ryan Marcotte with the Parks Department are here at the meeting tonight. Ryan's on Zoom. He's usually with us every meeting, running the Zoom, but he gets to participate this time potentially too. Kearney Parks and Rec proposes pickleball court expansion project at 619 East 19th Street, which is the location of the current pickleball courts and the skate park, former location of the tennis courts for the school district. Property is owned by the school district. On a side note, the city is working with them on an acquisition of additional ground. So the site plan is drawn with the additional ground coming to the city. Jim and the engineer working on, there's a drainage issue that they have at the school where they collect some pooling of water when it rains up at the baseball fields. And part of that agreement will try to deal with that drainage issue up there on the First Base side. Pickleball court project includes the following improvements: 12 new pickleball courts located south of the existing courts. So that's this gray shaded area here. Parking lot expansion So the existing parking lot is here along the south side of 19th Street. That'll be resurfaced and curbed, and then we'll have an expansion where the existing pickleball courts are located and a little bit of the skate park. New fencing and lighting around the skate park area and around the pickleball courts, and a new concrete prefab restroom near the northeast corner, accessible both by the park, by the skate park and the pickleball courts, and by people using the trail as well. I was going to say something about, well, we've got the, I lost track of what I was going to say, but the new restrooms look a lot like the Lions Park restrooms that we have, only the color's a little different. It does have a rock wainscot. It'll be a gray color, cedar shake roof, and there'll be a water fountain in between the two doors. The Parks Department will have the doors locked at 10 p.m., I believe, to the bathrooms. Lights will turn off at the pickleball courts at 10 p.m., and then the parking lot will follow up a little bit after that, so giving people time to leave. Access to the pickleball courts will be at the same driveway location there is today, only the driveway will be widened a little bit, curbs will be added, and then the curb radius at the street will be a bigger curb radius, allows people to pull into the park a little bit easier than they do today. It's a little bit tight if you've got somebody trying to leave as you're trying to come in. Again, site lighting, there'll be lights, new lights in the parking lot. They'll be shielded face down. There was an exhibit in the packet. It's hard to see, but it's kind of the LED style, where if you looked at it from the side, it'd be just kind of a flat fixture, and it shines the LED light down. There'll be some other lights around, the taller lights around the pickleball court and the skate park. They will be shielded too, though, so you won't get light shining out of the fixture going up in the air. It'll be focused down onto the courts. Staff recommends approval of the Kearney Parks and Rec pickleball court expansion site plan at 619 East 19th Street with the following conditions. Restroom structure meet front yard setbacks in the R1 district. The way it's drawn, it's about 10 feet from the property line. We've asked the engineer to scoot that down 25 feet from the property line. So we'll scoot a little bit further to the south, still be able to accommodate the gravity sewer in that area. The number of ADA parking spaces needs to comply with standards. If they are not drawn in, there need to be 4 ADA parking spaces. Looks like there are probably 2 based on the hatched-in area next to the pickleball or next to the skate park. They'll just have to hatch in 1 more area and add 2 more spaces. Submit a building permit application prior to construction. Of course, we waive fees, but we like to have a permit on file so that we can research records. And 4, develop a project in compliance with all codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. Even though we don't have taxes, that would be applicable. This application will be for the Board of Aldermen for consideration at their meeting next month. Eric's in the audience today if the board has any questions. Ryan's also online too. I'd like to point out an email that was received by Paula. She couldn't be here today, so she sent out an email that talks about reduction in size of the skate park by 1/3. We can pull up the Google Earth map and show you how that layout is. But she has concerns about kids that enjoy the skate park and how we can try to accommodate them at the same time we do a pickleball expansion. She'd like to see that.
Thank you. Eric, do you want to speak to anything first before we get started?
I'd answer any questions that Dave pretty much summed everything up that we would like to do. Regarding the bathrooms, I know that, down there right now, we have the Johnny on the spots.
Mm-hmm.
These would be available to be used year round because when we did the planning, there will be some heat in there. That way, those can be used year round. They do have automatic locks. We won't have to go and actually lock them every night. So we can set whatever time we want, but we'd like to do that at 10 o'clock. That way, the lights would go off, and then 20 minutes later, the lights go off in the parking lot. We've considered a lot of things when we first did with the park board about doing pickleball. We had no idea that it would take off as fast as it has. We've got a lot of leagues here in town. We're excited about this project. The final drawing or for approval to the park board, we will go with our park board meeting next week, a week from tomorrow, and discuss this with them as well. But we would like feedback, comments, and things of that from you before we take that to the Board of Aldermen. In regards to the email from Paula, yes, we are proposing that we shrink the skate park in itself by about a third. Kids are still going to be able to use that skate park and use all of the structures that are there. The comments that Ryan and I, because we're out there all the time, here is the features are too spread out. They like to get off that and keep their momentum and go to another feature instead of constantly have to use their feet and things of that nature. We can reconfigure those structures to best fit that site. When we did do the skate park, those features are not bolted to the actual asphalt. We can go in with forks, and that's how we install those and remove those is with forks. So we would reconfigure that, and we think it's a great plan, not only for the pickleball players, but for the skate park users as well.
We pull up Google Earth.
Sure.
I go a little further into that. So you can see the little hand. This is the fence between the pickleball courts and the skate park. And there's a piece of equipment here, piece of equipment. Looks like a rail there. That looks maybe a couple of rails out there.
Yeah.
And then the big half pipe. Right. There's a lot of empty space in this area.
I think that's
A lot
what
of
she
empty
was talking
space.
about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
using with their bicycles.
A lot of empty space in that area.
There's still going to be the kids are still going to be able to play in there, whether they're using the structures themselves. They're still going to be able to have their bikes or regular skateboards that if they don't want to use the actual structures, there's still plenty of space.
So you're just basically saying that all of these things will be kind of in a
Condensed,
condensed in a
Correct.
smaller area?
We're not going to get rid of any of that equipment.
Mhm.
It's been great equipment. It's actually manufactured for skate parks itself. We spent a lot of money on that equipment, but we would just condense everything down. And I don't know if Dave mentioned to you, but the skate park itself is in dire need of resurfacing, and that is included in the plan as well, a 2-inch overlay on the skate park. So we do know that the kids will love that, not having to deal with a bunch of cracks and things of that nature.
Or the tennis court striping.
Right, or the tennis court striping, right, correct.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have questions or items for discussion?
Yeah, some of my questioning was a skateboard park, and the reason I'm bringing that up is I have a grandson that goes up there quite a bit.
Sure.
And so we were concerned about it being smaller. And I talked to him a little bit, not telling him everything that's going on here, but
Sure.
just asking him about it. But will this keep it from being able to expand and have more features inside that area? Because that's what his complaint was. We just didn't have enough features for them to roll up and down or whatever they do. And is that going to make that so it's so small that we can't add things at
We would like
one
to
point in
take,
time?
we have found that I think we have, and Ryan, help me if I've I think there's 3 grind rails in there, and those get used the least of everything. We can add down in the future, if we so desire, another feature in there and take out a grind rail or push a grind rail closer to a fencing area where it would still be safe, but there would still be room for improvement on adding another piece in there, at no problem. That skate park right there is way too big for the number of structures and features that we have for.
Have you ever been?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, we don't want to deter the kids because it gets used a lot, and we want to continue the kids. You know, we hear nothing for the kids to do. We want those kids to continue to go and enjoy that, and we like both of those features together, because we have, even though we have kids leagues for pickleball now through our parks department, there's a lot of adults there that kind of overlooked that. Before we had the pickleball, we had a lot of vandalism out there, a lot of graffiti. And it seems that when we keep those together, knock on wood, we haven't had any graffiti out there in the last year, 16, 18 months, something like that. But to answer your question, there is room to add another feature. And the good thing about these are, if we want to take out one feature that maybe getting tired that they don't use, we can still store that and add another feature, you know, on a rotational type of basis as well.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been over to the skate park in Excelsior?
Absolutely. In fact, when we first started doing this, Ryan and I went to Excelsior before we even did our skate park.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because I've taken him over there
Right.
several times,
Yeah.
because, you know, he
It's
says
big.
it's big.
It's big.
Yeah. Have we, so there's, I mean, is the skateboard park used a lot? I mean, to where we need to think of in the future of expanding it instead of
Right
shrinking
now,
it?
to answer, I would say no. That doesn't mean that down the road, maybe. It just depends. Tonight, when I was coming here, there were people on the pickleball courts. There weren't anybody on the skate park.
Mhm.
I can go home tonight and there can be, you know, in the evening time, it seems like it picks up out there.
Well, I know this pickleball is growing, and it's growing all the time, and
Right.
I'm happy that we're offering more of it.
Right.
But I just hate to see our skateboard to where we can't expand if we need to sometime in the future. Because I know that, you know, I know a lot of the kids, because of my grandson, that goes up there and plays on it at times.
To answer your question, I can't say in the future, would we consider moving the skate park to a different location and making it bigger again? I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
can't say that.
But the, not obstacles, the features
Yes.
are movable. So
They are.
if we decided that we're at 11th or at 19th Street and 33, where we have that property, if we decided that would be a feature there, we already have
The structure.
the structures.
Sure.
So.
And guys, if I can butt in, this is Ryan. The only things that are actually bolted down are the grind rails at that location. So like Eric said, we can go in there with bobcats or a skid steer and, you know, just pick them up on forks and move them. And we've actually done that before to clean under them. So it works really nice.
Okay.
Question. So you're gonna resurface the whole thing here, right?
Yes.
Okay. How many parking spaces do you have now? Projected?
20.
How many's projected to be?
Oh, 80, well, I have 83 in the future, and
83.
they're about 28 now, I believe.
And what's required?
There isn't a number that's required,
Okay.
because it's a special type of use.
Okay.
I wanted to point out, it'd be about 6 parking spaces per court, plus 11 extra spaces. That 6 is important because you have 4 people, 2 to 4 people play. So that gives you enough parking space. If everybody drove themselves,
So you have a ton of extra.
yeah, so there should be a lot of extra,
Well-
there should be extra parking.
You're looking at that plan, if you did want to expand it, it looked like to me it'd be real easy to just, you're gonna chain link that skate park, right?
Yes.
Okay, you just move the posts over and take up that row of parking that's nose in against the skate. You, I don't know what the length is, but you'll pick up another 10 feet going that way. So,
With that, I will say, being I live in the Stonecrest subdivision, I drive by, there's a lot of walkers that park in there as well. So the additional parking will not only benefit pickleball players, the skate, most of the time it's the skateboard, skate park people are dropped off. The majority are dropped off by the parents. Some do drive because we had them there in the evening time, driving themselves, college-age kids using it. But we do have a lot of walkers in there.
yeah, my only point there was that you've got room to expand, it looks like to me,
Right.
if you want to.
To the north.
I don't, like I said, I don't know what that distance is.
Well, parking space is 20 feet deep.
What is it?
20
20.
feet deep per parking space.
There's
And then there'll be a
15.
sidewalk that's
You're talking
Like
about
probably
right here.
10
From
feet
here to
wide.
here, you just pick up this whole thing up. You
Well,
could
I'd
go
say-
the
I'd
other
say
way
20
too,
feet,
but.
just
Oh, I
to
thought
keep
you
the
were talking
sidewalk
about going this
going
way.
around.
Yeah, if you just go this way and you take up, that's approximately 10 feet for the depth of a parking space. 8 to 10, and then whatever that length is from there to there. I'm just saying it's doable if you
Right.
want to expand it.
The other thing with the pickleball parking is that you have to assume some crossover because they're gonna be full, and so this game's finishing up and these people are getting ready, so you're gonna have people,
Right.
you're gonna have some crossover.
You can see how it works the way it is, and then, whatever needs to be done, it's adjustable in the future. That's why I asked, you're gonna repay the whole thing anyway, so moving a couple posts is pretty easy. If you need to do that. So we need to vote on this.
Yeah, we'd like to have a vote. Now, I say it's going to the Board of Aldermen next week, but it's got to go to the Park Board though, too. It's not quite been to the Park Board.
Well, I move
It
for
is.
approval as shown.
I'll second that.
Was there any other questions before we
Oh.
get there?
sorry.
You-
Okay.
I just thought I'd like to ask them if
Oh,
they had
sorry.
anything, or just, you guys have anything?
No.
Okay, now we have a
Okay, now
motion and a.
I still move for approval.
Okay, great. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes, and good luck with the other two boards.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chuck, and I'm not trying to dominate it.
Okay, guys,
No, I'm not.
Eric, do you know a time frame?
We're waiting on the cost estimates. I talked to Dan Miller today. He thinks that they will have us cost estimates by the end of the week. He wanted it last week, but obviously they're not here. But hopefully we can get started late this summer.
well, and for,
That'd be great.
yeah, and this is another one of those projects that was promised when we passed the use tax, and so it's good to see that this is moving forward pretty quickly.
Right.
No, I've never played pickleball. Do they play it spring, summer, fall?
Play it in the winter too.
Oh, they will.
If they have a decent day and the wind's not, they'll play.
They'll probably do a tournament out here.
Oh, yeah.
I foresee many tournaments in our future with that complex.
Good.
All right, okay, well, moving on then, there being no old business, is there any commission discussion? Anyone have anything this evening? If not, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.